You do not need to go to the gym. With just a single kettlebell, you can build real world strength, power, and mobility. Here are the 6 most crucial kettlebell exercises you need to have in your program to build strength, durability, and full body power. The 2-hand swing. The single leg deadlift. The no hand get up. The hack squat. The clean. And the 1-arm press. Let's take a deeper dive into each one of the crucial 6. By far the most important type of muscle fibers for you to protect as you grow older are your fast twitch muscle fibers. These are the fibers that are responsible for explosion, speed, and top end strength. And as we age, we start to lose them. The good news is if you take corrective steps, you can prevent that decline and maintain them and stay powerful for the rest of your days. There are 2 main ways you can maintain and develop your fast twitch muscle fibers. The first is you can lift very heavy weights. Another option is to move a more moderate weight in a very explosive manner, just like you do in the kettlebell swing. So when we swing, we're exploding with the hamstrings and glutes, right? And this is really going to help develop and maintain fast twitch muscle fibers all through the lower body. So if you don't have a barbell or you don't enjoy deadlifts, no problem. You can get the same benefit from doing a kettlebell swing, because the 2 ways you maintain your fast twitch fibers are by moving heavy weights and by moving moderate weights in an explosive manner. So the single leg deadlift, absolutely fantastic exercise for conditioning the hamstrings and glutes. And what I particularly like about this exercise is if you look at the position of the hips, right? The front hip is in flexion, the back hip's in extension. That's how we move, right? If you think of how we run, 1 hip in flexion, 1 in extension, which is why you're gonna find it in a lot of high-level pro athletes programs. Also drills balance, and balance is a crucial attribute that we're losing as we get older, unless we take proactive steps to stop it. I also shot a deep dive video on this exercise that you can link to here. And you may be wondering why I didn't choose the traditional Turkish getup. And I think that's a fantastic exercise. And I think absolutely it could have easily slotted in here. But there is one thing in particular that I really like about the no hand getup. They did a study in Rio where they looked at somebody's ability to get up and down off the floor using the least amount of support. So they gave everybody a score of 10 from the floor. And every time they made contact with the ground with an elbow, hand, or knee, they lost a point, right? So if you were able to get up without using anything, you got to score a 10. If you had to put a hand down, you got to score a 9, etc., right? And they followed the participants for 7 years. And what they discovered was that people who came in below an 8 score were twice as likely to die of all-cause mortality within that 7-year period. For a perfect 10 out of 10 score, you would need to get up from the ground, no hands, no knees, no elbows, okay? But that is a pretty challenging movement for a lot of people to do. So instead, we'll go for a 9. And here's the no hand get up. I'm gonna show it without the kettlebell. We're up, still 10 points. We're gonna switch, still 10 points. Here's our point deduction. There's the knee, right? We're in the 9 points. and then stand up. Let's compare that to a regular Turkish get-up. Point deduction for elbow, point deduction for palm, we're already at 8. Point deduction for knee, now we're at 7, right? So based on the results of the study, we have double the risk of all-cause mortality. So this study shows that your ability to get up and down off the floor using the least amount of support possible is a powerful predictor of your longevity and overall health span, even more so than more traditional markers like blood pressure and BMI. If you want to see a deep dive into the no-hand get-up, hit me in the comments, and if enough people want it, I'll put it together for you. But here's a mile-high view. So you're going to start on the back. All right, we're already hitting abs, right? Abs here. Definitely some hip mobility there. Abs again. And then look, right, we're coming out of that deep lunge position. So we get lunge just by doing the no-hand get-up. Then we're going to reverse it. Drop down. Pivot, there's our hip mobility. Core strength. We're back down. Okay? So you get a lot of bang for your buck from this movement, right? You get core training, you get hip mobility, and you get your lunge pattern. Now I can't tell you if the no-hand get-up is going to make you live forever, but I can tell you that the no-hand get-up will make you a stronger, more mobile, more durable individual, and that is going to add some years to your life. The one-arm press is a joint-friendly way to develop the muscles of the shoulder, upper chest, and your triceps. In early physical culture training, the one-arm press was the lift for developing upper body strength and muscle. And it was also key for developing the defined shoulders and broad chest made popular by the Greek statues from the ancient world. It also develops your external rotators. Okay, we spend so much time in this internally rotated position, hunched forward. When we do the one-arm press with the kettlebell, with the way the weight is positioned, pulls us out, opens things up, and builds mobility into the shoulder joint. Crucial exercise, joint friendly, powerful, safe, should be in everybody's program. So the goblet squat's a fantastic exercise, right? Really good for mobility, really good for teaching you squat mechanics, but there's one downside. The kettlebell that's going to be heavy enough to stimulate your shoulders is going to be too light to stimulate your legs. So what do? Well, by changing the squat variation, we can hit the legs really hard with a kettlebell that is not particularly heavy. And the version we're going to do is the kettlebell hack squat. So we're gonna start with the kettlebell behind the back, and then we're gonna squat down, getting up on the toes, go into that very deep knee bend, and come up from there. Now, because of the inefficient position of the kettlebell, you do not need a heavy weight to get a whole lot of action in the legs. We're also building some real deep mobility here, and we're getting foot and ankle because we're getting up on the toes. One of the biggest criticisms of kettlebell training is that it's all flat-footed. Well, not so when you do the hack squat. This will bake strength and mobility all the way down into the foot and ankle. So I actually shot a complete tutorial on the hack squat where I show you progressions to go from no kettlebell all the way up to the kettlebell version. I suggest checking it out, try the movement out. If it's a good fit for your body, definitely put it in your program. The kettlebell clean is a fantastic power exercise for the full body, right? Not only do we get the hamstrings and glutes, like on the swing, but we also get a little bit of back and biceps as well. It's a much more accessible movement than the snatch for most people, but offers a lot of the same benefits. Also a fantastic low impact but high intensity conditioning exercise when you do it for higher reps. I also shot a deep dive video on this exercise that you can watch somewhere up there. And the reason I chose these particular 6 exercises is not just because they're all, when integrated, fantastic for hitting the whole body, but they're also designed for you to be able to do them with one single kettlebell of the same weight, right? So if you have one kettlebell at home and it's heavy enough to challenge you on the overhead press, then that kettlebell will be heavy enough to challenge you on all of these exercises. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like me to do a deeper dive on any of the exercises that I haven't covered yet, please leave a comment. And if you found the information in this video helpful, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel so much. Thank you so much for your time today, and I'll see you in the next video.